The night David Mercer met Luna Vale, the air itself seemed staged, like a movie scene waiting for its climax. He was successful, restless, and lonely in the glow of his own achievements. She was radiant, all filters and perfect timing, her laughter a weapon sharpened by the internet. They met at an influencer party on Sunset Boulevard, surrounded by the hum of phones recording every glance. David thought he'd found youth again. Luna saw Mark, who didn't know he was already trapped. Within a week, he'd left his wife, posted his new love online, and vanished. How does a man disappear in a city filled with cameras? And what happens when the illusion you chased becomes your executioner? David told himself it wasn't cheating. It was starting over. At 41, he'd earned the right to feel alive again. Luna made him feel wanted, seen, even young. She filmed their dinners, their private moments, everything he thought was love. Online, the comments called them goals. But behind every perfect clip was a hidden plan. While he believed he'd found freedom, Luna was setting the stage for a vanishing act that would rewrite both their lives. Claire Mercer watched the story unfold from her phone screen. She hadn't even finalized the divorce papers before Luna's face appeared everywhere. On gossip blogs, on David's business account, even in sponsored ads. Every click twisted the knife deeper. She knew her husband, and she knew this wasn't love. It was a setup. Detective Marcus Hale wasn't supposed to take the case yet. Missing adults in Los Angeles often turn up in Vegas, not in morgues. But something about this one felt different. David Mercer didn't just vanish. His bank accounts did too. Hale stared at the digital trail, realizing this wasn't just a love story gone wrong. It was the start of something engineered. 2 days later, Luna's feed went silent. No new posts, no stories, no trace of the golden couple. David's phone pinged one last time, a text from Luna's number reading, "Don't look for me." Then, nothing. For a man who lived his life online, David Mercer had disappeared into digital smoke. Detective Marcus Hale replayed the footage again. David Mercer's black Porsche rolled through the Hollywood Hills at 10:42 p.m., the last sighting before he vanished. The traffic cameras caught him alone, but the timestamp didn't match his phone's activity. Messages were still being sent an hour later, from downtown. Somewhere someone was moving through the city, pretending to be him. Hale leaned back, cigarette smoke curling toward the ceiling, realizing he wasn't chasing a man anymore. He was chasing a ghost made of data and lies. The Porsche was found 2 days later, parked neatly behind an abandoned film studio outside Burbank. No sign of struggle, no fingerprints. The keys were still in the ignition. The seat adjusted forward, too close for David's height. Luna's fingerprints, however, were everywhere. On the door, the console, even the rearview mirror. But she was gone. The security cameras nearby had been erased, hard drives wiped clean. Someone had prepared this scene with surgical precision. Claire Mercer's phone rang that evening. "Mrs. Mercer, we found the vehicle," the detective said. Her heart didn't skip. It sank. She drove to the precinct in silence, clutching a photo of David from years ago. Before Luna, before the chaos. Hale showed her the car photos. "Did he ever mention this place?" he asked. She shook her head. "He hated that area," she whispered. "It reminds him of deals that went bad." The detective took a long look at her. So maybe someone knew exactly where to find his regrets. Meanwhile, Luna's account was still posting. Scheduled stories of beach trips, brand collabs, and smiling selfies. Her followers thought she was living her best life. But the geotags told another story. Locations that didn't exist. Detectives traced the uploads to a VPN server, bouncing through 3 countries. Hale watched the looped footage of her smiling face. "She's not running," he muttered. "She's erasing." 3 days later, a park ranger called it in. A phone found near a hiking trail overlooking Mulholland Drive. The casing was cracked, the screen dark. It was David's. Inside the SIM card were fragments of voice notes, one still intact. Hale pressed play. David's voice was shaking. "If something happens to me, it's not her real name. None of it is." Static swallowed the rest. Hale looked toward the city below, the glittering sprawl of dreams and deceit, and finally understood. He wasn't hunting for a missing man. He was uncovering a staged disappearance. Detective Marcus Hale spent the night combing through Unravel's digital footprint. But the deeper he searched, the stranger it became. Luna wasn't one person. She was a collection of stolen identities, a collage of faces, passports, and bank accounts scattered across countries. Every profile led to another fake, each one built with professional precision. Hale stared at the data, feeling the chill of realization creep through him. Whoever Luna really was, she had help. And this wasn't her first victim. Claire couldn't stop replaying the voicemail David left her 2 days before he disappeared. His voice trembled as he said, "I think I made a mistake." She'd ignored it at the time, too angry to care. Now it was the only thing keeping her from collapsing. She opened her laptop and typed Luna's name. Within seconds, she found dozens of accounts using Luna's image, different names, same face. A chill ran through her veins. This wasn't a love affair. It was a business. Detective Hale traced one of Luna's payment accounts to a crypto wallet in Singapore. Dozens of transactions linked back to American businessmen, all recently divorced, all suddenly broke. It was a ring, a machine built to feed on loneliness and greed. Hale contacted an old cybersecurity contact who whispered a name, Jamie Lynn, former influencer, former partner, and the only person who'd ever escaped the network alive. Jamie Lynn looked nothing like the influencer she used to be. Her hair was now jet black, her face bare, her voice trembling. At 27, she had already lived 3 lives. The perfect girl online, the handler behind the curtain, and now the ghost who wanted out. "Luna isn't her name," she whispered. "It's a role. There are 5 of them. The real one controls everything." Hale leaned closer. "And David Mercer." Jamie's eyes filled with guilt. "He found out. That's why he's gone." Jamie handed Hale a flash drive. "Everything's on here," she said. The videos, the transfers, the meetings. Hale plugged it in. Dozens of hidden files opened. Surveillance clips, transaction logs, chat messages. One folder stood out. Mercer. Final. The video showed David at a lavish mansion party surrounded by influencers. Luna kissed his cheek. He smiled for the camera, unaware that he was already disappearing from his own life. Jamie Lynn's voice trembled as she explained how it all worked. The Unravel persona wasn't one woman. It was a rotating identity, shared by a team of digital con artists. They used AI filters, makeup artists, and pre-shot footage to keep the illusion seamless. When a target fell in love, they drained his accounts, staged a disappearance, and vanished into new names. David found out before they finished, Jamie whispered. He tried to expose them. Hale's jaw clenched, and that's when they silenced him. The footage on the flash drive showed Luna's team in action. Hidden cameras recording private meetings, fake invoices transferring money overseas, and encrypted chats planning. The exit, Hale paused one video where Luna, or whoever she truly was, looked into the lens and said, "Always make them believe it was their idea." The words echoed through the room like a curse. Hale muttered, "She didn't just steal from them. She rewrote their memories." Claire Mercer arrived at the precinct that afternoon, clutching a brown envelope. "I think I know where they took him," she said quietly. Inside were photos from David's social media, tagged locations that didn't match reality. Hale realized they were coded. GPS coordinates hidden in the filters Luna used. A breadcrumb trail disguised as vanity. Claire stared at the detective. He must have figured it out before he disappeared. "He left me the map." The coordinates led to a gated mansion in Topanga Canyon, a place used for influencer retreats and luxury brand shoots. Hale and his team arrived just before sunset. The house stood silent, its pool still shimmering from a recent party. Inside, rooms were staged for photos, but empty of life. In the basement, they found a camera setup facing a marble chair and blood spatter across the floor. The metallic smell told them everything. The illusion was over. In the flickering light of the basement, Hale found a hidden drive behind the marble chair. He plugged it in, and there it was. The final recording. David Mercer, alive, sitting in the same chair. His face bruised but defiant. "If anyone sees this," he whispered. "She isn't who she says she is. None of this is real." The footage ended with the sound of footsteps. Hale stood frozen, his reflection staring back from the dark screen, realizing this case wasn't about a single missing man anymore. It was about every illusion people choose to believe. The mansion felt like a graveyard of illusions. Hale and his team cataloged everything. Shattered glass, blood droplets, torn dresses, and photo props scattered like ghosts of a perfect life. Each room was a lie built for likes. He found Luna's perfume still hanging in the air, her lipstick on a champagne glass. It was as if she'd walked out minutes ago. Hale stood in the silence, thinking of David Mercer, 41 years old, a man undone by his own search for meaning. "He thought he was buying love," Hale murmured. He bought an ending. Down in the mansion's basement, technicians uncovered the rest of the video drive. What they found wasn't just David's final message. It was a sequence of rehearsed confessions, dozens of men reading the same script, recorded months apart. Luna's operation wasn't isolated. It was systemic, almost industrial. Jamie Lynn watched from the corner, hands shaking. "They make them confess so no one believes they're victims," she whispered. "They script their own disappearance." Claire came to the mansion the next morning. Hale warned her, but she insisted. "I need to see where he died," she said softly. She walked through the hallways, touching the walls as if trying to find traces of her husband's laughter. When she reached the basement, she froze, her reflection appearing in the same camera lens that recorded David's last words. "He wasn't perfect," she whispered, "but he didn't deserve this." Hale looked away, letting her grieve in the same silence that had once recorded false love. By dusk, the evidence lab confirmed it. The blood on the marble floor matched David Mercer. But the strange part wasn't the DNA. It was the timing. It suggested the blood had been moved, planted hours after his last known signal. "Someone staged the scene," Hale said. "They wanted us to think it ended here." Jamie Lynn looked up in horror. "Then he might still be alive." Hale met her eyes. "Or they moved him to finish the story somewhere else." At 3 a.m., Hale reviewed the footage again. One frame stood out, a blurred figure in the background of David's final video. Taller than Luna, wearing gloves, face half hidden. The metadata timestamp was altered, but the reflection in the marble showed a tattoo, a crescent moon on the wrist. Jamie leaned in, whispering, "That's not Luna, that's her handler." Hale exhaled slowly, realizing the real puppet master was still out there, and still playing the game. 2 weeks after the mansion raid, a new lead came from Miami. An anonymous tip placed a woman matching Luna Vale's description living in a luxury condo under the name Elena Vaughn. The apartment overlooked the ocean. Same hair, same smile, but older somehow, harder. When Hale saw her on surveillance, his chest tightened. "She's still playing the part," he said. Jamie Lynn nodded. "They always are." A warrant was issued that night. For the first time, the ghost of Luna Vale had a pulse. The arrest was quiet, almost anticlimactic. No chase, no drama, just the echo of heels on marble as officers entered the penthouse. Luna didn't resist. She smiled, raised her hands, and said, "I wondered when you'd find me." Hale read her rights while she adjusted her robe like she was posing for another camera. "You used him," Hale said. "You killed him." Luna tilted her head, lips curling. He gave himself away. I just helped him disappear beautifully. In the interrogation room, Luna sat under harsh white lights, flawless makeup, no emotion. Hale paced slowly. "Tell me where David is." She smiled faintly. "You still don't get it, do you?" "He's everywhere." She leaned forward, voice like silk. "He's the story now. You're keeping him alive just by talking about him." Hale's patience cracked. "You filmed him dying." Her smile faded for the first time. "No, we filmed him choosing. And you are..." Jamie Lynn watched from the observation room, trembling. "That's not her voice," she whispered. "She's mimicking me." Hale turned, startled. "What do you mean?" Jamie's eyes widened. "They deep fake each other. They switch faces, switch voices. That's how they stay untouchable." Hale's pulse quickened. The woman in custody wasn't Luna Vale. She was another operative wearing her identity like a mask. The real Luna was still out there. That night, Hale returned to his motel room, exhaustion etched into every line of his face. A storm rolled over Miami, thunder mixing with the hum of the air conditioner. He opened his laptop to log the evidence, and froze. A new video had appeared in his inbox. It was Luna, sitting somewhere dark, rain dripping in the background. "You're getting close," she whispered. "But remember, detective, some men don't vanish. They just become stories." The screen went black. Hale stared at his reflection in the dark screen, realizing the chase was far from over. 2 months after the Miami arrest, the case was officially closed. No body, no confirmed identity of Luna Vale, no trace of David Mercer except for the videos. The media called it the vanishing mogul mystery. Claire watched from home as talking heads debated her husband's fate. She turned off the TV, tired of strangers defining her pain. David wasn't a mystery to her. He was a man who lost himself chasing something unreal. "You can't compete with a fantasy," she whispered, staring out the window. "You can only survive it." Detective Hale filed the final report. Case unresolved. His pen paused mid-signature. He'd seen murder, greed, betrayal, but this was something else. This was a digital death. David Mercer had been erased not by violence, but by design. Hale looked over the evidence one last time. Usernames, recordings, deepfakes, and felt a chill. The line between truth and illusion had vanished, just like the man who crossed it. Jamie Lynn vanished soon after the arrest. One night, she simply stopped answering calls. Hale tracked her last location, a bus station outside Phoenix. Surveillance caught her boarding a bus alone, disappearing into the desert. Some said she feared the network would find her. Others whispered she'd gone back to it. Hale stared at her empty file and realized that once you become part of the illusion, it never lets you go. A month later, Claire received an anonymous email. It contained a single photo. David Mercer sitting on a beach, alive, looking out at the ocean. The metadata was wiped clean. No date, no location. Was it real? Was it staged? Claire printed it and placed it in a drawer beside their wedding photo. She didn't need answers anymore. Sometimes, the cruelest truth is the one that leaves room for hope. Detective Hale closed his notebook for good. Outside, Los Angeles buzzed like always, a city addicted to illusions. He stepped onto the precinct steps and lit a cigarette, watching the sun fade behind the skyline. Some people die, he thought, and some people just delete themselves. As smoke drifted into the air, his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number appeared. "You still don't understand the story." No name, just a location pin. Hale stared at it for a long time, then began to walk.